What's up, guys? As you can tell, I'm getting darker, and now I'm getting lighter, and that is what's called an ND filter. Roll the intro. Yeah, we don't actually have an intro, so we will get around to that one of these days. So the reason I was showing you guys that darkening effect with the ND filter is because today we are reviewing an ND filter, or as I like to say, I'm not actually reviewing, I'm just talking about my experiences with, which by the way, that's just my disclaimer, so that way I can get out of all the mean comments just by saying
This wasn't a review. This was just my experience.
To be fair though, I have only actually used a handful of ND filters, but I've never actually owned and daily driven a Polar Pro or a Tiffin ND filter. Personally, I've used them on other cameras for other shoots, so that's just a disclaimer. Just got to get that out of the way before the beginning of this video. If you're sitting here wondering, what the heck am I talking about? What the heck is ND? What the heck? You should probably come up with another euphemism. What the heck gets old very quickly. I'm here to explain what the ND filter is. Okay, so the reason you'd want to use an ND filter is when there's way too much light in your room, like say this. You're filming in a location where there's way too much light. You take that ND filter and you put it on, and boom, correctly exposed. All right, so there's a couple different types of ND filters. There are the square ND filters that you'd use in like a cinema camera with a matte box. Brian, make sure you're putting up screenshots of these. Those are ideal for video work. However, they're super inconvenient because number one, you have to have a matte box, and two, you can't just screw them on, screw them off, slap them in, slap them out. You have to actually open up the matte box and pull out the filter and put in the new filter. Then there are screw-on filters, which are the worst of the filters in my opinion, because they don't really have the convenience of being adjustable. They're just one flat piece of glass that does not change. It is one specific darkness, one specific density. They screw on the front, and they don't have the convenience of being able to pull out of the matte box fairly quickly, but they also don't have the convenience of being able to adjust, so that's why I don't like those. Variable NDs are the most convenient in my opinion because they can go on photo lenses, super lightweight, super quick, and easy to take on and off. There is a small quality degradation in using variable NDs. Solid state neutral density filters tend to be a little bit cleaner, but for everyday normie filmmakers like me, these circular ones are just way too convenient to not use. So all that aside, today I'm going to be talking about my experience with this ND filter, which is the K&F CONCEPT. The one thing I like about this filter that I actually really like, that I've actually heard people who own the Polar Pro neutral density filter have said is even better about this one. I love the little ribbed, gnarled edges on this. As you can see in these beautiful B-roll shots, this filter is actually kind of chonky on the end of your lens. It doesn't sit really flush, which when I first got it, I thought that was kind of a downside. I thought it would be kind of a weird and annoying to have the filter protruding over the edges of the lens. However, this thing has lots of these nice knurled grips on those edges. It's really easy to reach up to the front of your lens and adjust this filter without having to like kind of feel around and like grab it. Like we've all had that where we're trying to like adjust our ND filter and then you can't like grab the right part, and then you end up just like your fingers like pressing on the front of the lens just like this. Oh yeah, if I do this, it's gonna trip some people out. Look at that. Look at my fingers all over the ND filter. Nasty. Listen. ASMR of smudges being made.
I'm not editing that video.
Anyways, sorry, before I trigger too many people, back to the point. I really like the fact that this is a little bit thicker on the front than most ND filters because it makes it really easy to adjust. Also along those lines, this thing is finished with like this nice matte black kind of paint. I've had this one for a little over a year, about a year and a half. I think I've been using this one as my main ND filter, and the wear isn't terrible. On the threading, you can see that the paint is coming off a bit, but on all the edges, it's basically only where I've dropped my camera, and that's definitely on me because you probably shouldn't drop your camera. The paint stayed on pretty well for being a budget ND filter. Image quality, that would be the next most important thing to talk about. The one thing you might notice on this ND filter is that it does make the image a little bit warmer. On a really good high quality ND filter, you're going to have the image being affected as little as possible when you put that on. That is something to note, that this will make your image a little bit warmer. However, this is just good practice, good life advice. When you're setting up your camera and your settings, white balance your camera after you put all your filters on. So the fact that this is a little bit warmer shouldn't affect things too much anyways, if you're doing proper camera procedure and balancing your white balance after you put on your filter. Another thing to talk about this one is the scratch resistance and durability. I don't know comparatively how much better this is than any other ones. There's a couple little scratches on mine. It's definitely had some wear, but it's not terrible. The coatings have been fairly resistant, and I would say after 2 years, this is probably pretty reasonable. Comparing it to my other like mist filters and stuff that I use, this seems pretty reasonable to me to have about this amount of scratches, so I'd say it's fairly durable. And lastly, the most important thing here, pretty much the only reason you would buy this filter over, say, a Tiffin or a Polar Pro filter is the price. The price is a really big thing here. This filter cost, when I bought it anyways, about $78, $79, I believe. I'll post up the Amazon listing right now and you can see what it is when I'm filming this video. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $80. And that's compared to a Polar Pro filter or a Tiffin filter. Those are gonna be in the $250 range. Excellent bang for buck when comparing that way. Like I said, I don't have a ton of experience with those other filters, so this isn't necessarily just a straight up, this is better than the other one type of review. In my experience, this is totally worth getting. Ranking my overall experience, I would give this I'd give this ND filter like 4 Red Brian t-shirts out of 5 Red Brian t-shirts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys loved the chaos. As always, that's what I'm here for, to bring you the chaos. Like this video if you enjoyed it, share it if you want to trigger someone else who can't stand lenses being touched, and I will see you guys. Oh, this is so bad. This is actually painful for me to do. I will see you guys in the next video. Brian's mad now. Crap. Now I have to actually clean my lens. Dang it, shouldn't do that.